What's up, y'all? I'm PC McCray. You can call me P.
Hey, y'all. My name is Shaun the Head. You can call me Shaun the Head. And this is the Everything Has Changed podcast.
From 2 college roommates to 40-something adults, life has been lifing, and we want to talk about it.
We are the new adults, y'all.
How did that happen?
I don't know, P, but we got to talk about it.
Let's go. Let's do it.
Let's go.
What up, Shaun?
Hey, P.
Hey, girl. We are here with the people.
Episode 10.
Episode 10. Shout out to us. 10
Can you believe it? We did that.
I'm so proud of us.
That's a big deal because we
big
almost
deal.
didn't even get started.
This is what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
it's a big deal to us, and we will celebrate it, bringing it back to where we met. Good old FAMU.
Full circle.
The highest of 7 hills on this 10th episode of our podcast that we talked about in our dorm room in the fall of 2020. Jesus Christ, I wish.
Wild.
2000. Wild times, but we're living it now.
Yeah.
What got you to FAM?
So my mom went to FAM. My mom and dad met at FAM, actually. Yes. So I have a couple in my mom's age range. I got 2 cousins that went to FAM first, and then my mom followed up behind them. So they were all 3 at FAM together.
Oh, good time.
And then so my cousin, the male cousin, he pledged Alpha. And my dad was one, I don't know if he was his line brother or just a part of the frat, but that's how my mom met my dad. And it's not funny, but at FAM through
at a party.
You know what? I don't know if it was at a party specifically, but I know that my cousin to this day still be like, he still feels guilty for mommy, me and my dad through him.
Not
yeah, it didn't end. Oh, it's not funny, but my mom and dad were married, but by the time I came around, it was basically over. So they officially divorced when I was 2, and then he left our lives. So I haven't seen him since I was 7. He's gone now. He's passed now. But because of all the tumultuousness that happened in that whole situation, relationship, my cousin feels bad about it. But then I'm like, excuse me, I wouldn't be here, and the world needs me. So
it needs you.
You don't gotta feel guilty. I don't feel.
It was a reason.
Yeah, it was a reason for the season. Okay, we are here. But yeah, and actually, my mom got pregnant with my brother her freshman year.
Okay.
Yeah, like you can if you knew my mom, like the stories from the college days don't match up with the Joyce head that we all know and love. Because even I was like, she did what? Yeah, she got pregnant her freshman year, had my brother when she would have been a sophomore, but she didn't go back to school. Now, my dad finished, but my mom did not. And so she had my brother when she was 20. And she ended up going back to school back like when I was in high school, and she did finish. That was a big thing for her. Super proud of her. But
good
yeah,
job,
so
Mom.
yeah. But they met on campus at FAM. And so by the time I was coming up, mommy was one of the folks, every homecoming, her and my cousins were coming down. And then they would bring me along. I was in elementary school going to homecoming every year.
Yes.
So I always knew that I wanted to go to FAM. I did, and I had a full scholarship to go to FAM. Yes. So the only other schools that I applied to Spelman, and I applied to Howard. Those are the only other 2 schools, but then I got the scholarship to FAM, and I just knew I was going, but I was like, I can't just apply to only one school, so.
Right.
But clearly, I knew I was going to a black school, and also, let me not dim the light of A Different World, because A Different World really solidified how I felt about my future and going to school and going to a black college It's just like all the pieces fell into. There was no questions. I got yearbook pictures. I don't even know why mommy let me go to school like this. But you know how fam used to have those bright orange shirts with
Yes.
well, of course we still do. But I got yearbook pictures, and that's like what. Why was I up here in the bright ass FAMU shirt and my
You
yearbook
do.
picture? Like that ain't even look right. But yeah, so I always knew that I was gonna go. It's so funny that we stayed in McGuinn.
Yeah.
Mommy stayed in TWC. What's it? Crop?
Proper.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
mommy stayed in Cropper. She stayed in the same room we stayed in McGuinn. So she was in 202, but she
Shut
was in
up.
Cropper. No, she was, because I remember when we got to the campus and she took me over to her old room, and that's when we realized it was the same room as ours, just a different dorm.
Oh my
So her dorm
God.
was right behind. Those ones in the back specifically, like everything was still the same. From at
Yes.
that time, it was still the same from when she was there, and she was there in 69, 68 and 69, because my brother was born in 69.
Oh wow. Cropper
Yeah, man.
202. I need a that's I need a minute. That is
Isn't that
so
crazy? Yeah, we had a minute when she took me down there. I mean, look, she clearly was only in school officially for that 1 year,
mm,
but she loved fam like she had walked across that stage
yes, ma'am.
in 72, 73. Like
Mhm.
so and that's how I got there. That's why I went there. Like got a few different members of our family who went. I have also another cousin who went. He came out right before I came out.
Mhm.
Right, I'm sorry, right before I came down, he came out. So yeah, it's just a family thing, and I'm clearly very happy with my decision.
Yes.
The perfect
Uh,
place. What about you, P?
well, girl, well, mom was born and raised in Tallahassee.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the school, she would always say, I walked up to the hill to school. And so I have my great aunts and uncles went to FAM.
Mm.
Very, my uncle Carl, Dr. Carl Crawford, he preached education. And it was from
Yeah.
their parents. Because they weren't able to, but they made sure my great uncles and aunts went to school. All of them went to
Yeah.
FAM. They
Mm.
had 8 children,
God, a lot of
all
y'all.
of them, all of them. And then so my mom, my uncle, my mom, and her 2 sisters went to FAM as well.
Mhm.
And then my cousins, me, that is so we have generations. My uncle Carl, in his will, left all of his art to the Black Archives. We donated.
Wow.
We had to be in communication with them and get all that stuff together and get them. So when I need to get back to campus so I can actually see everything in there. But he donated all of his art, his African art. But the
That's so
love for
cool.
fam is deep. It
Yeah.
runs deep. And so because that's my mom's hometown, it was nothing for us to come up on a weekend just for a regular game.
Mm.
And just to have something to do and the atmosphere. And I was just thinking the other day how me and my aunt and cousins, when we would go to the games, we would make hot dogs before we got there and had little snacks and sneak them in because when nobody got nothing. You just picture us being in the stands and my aunt like pass it down, pass it down, pass it down to all my cousins, all our little snacks, and we're sitting there watching the game. We had cousins in the band, and I just was like, "Oh, fam is where I wanted to be." But I also played basketball, and I thought I was going to play
Mm.
for Pat Summit at Tennessee.
Mm.
So I always had this intern. I was like, I love basketball, but I love fam. I want to go to fam. I'm gonna play for
Oh,
Tennessee. I'm gonna play for Pat Summit. Well, that
yeah.
didn't work because I got hurt. So I was
Oh,
like,
because I was just about to say, but you didn't play when you got the fam.
no,
From
because
what I
I got
remember,
hurt in
because
high
you were hurt.
school.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I was like, you know what? There, fam, it is. But like you, I think I did Howard. I don't even know why because I should have. I was always gonna go to fam, but like I did
Mhm.
Howard, and I don't think we did Spelman, but we did Florida State just cause I ended up going to
Mhm.
grad school for Florida State because Dad went to Florida State. That's how they met.
Oh, that.
So they met in Tallahassee. Dad was at Florida State and she was at FAM.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's how they met. On the highest
I
of
didn't know
70
that.
up
Now,
in
where's your dad from then? Because
Mike.
he's not from Tallahassee. He's from Miami.
Uh-huh.
Real.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Uh-huh. Uh,
Okay. You know, them
uh-huh.
Florida boys
Yeah.
are a problem.
Liberty
So,
City. Sure.
yeah.
That man. But yeah, he went up. He went to I think Miami-Dade Community College first, and then was able
Yeah.
to go on up to Florida State. And that's a black man, what, in the 70s
Yeah.
at Florida State. But yeah, that's where they met. And it was nothing for us to go to Tallahassee. They showed me their old apartment where they lived when they first got
Oh,
together. And
my goodness.
yes, girl, it's just so Tallahassee is a dear. It means so much to me. That city alone means so much to me. It has so many memories. And fam, I mean, it's deep blood. Proud. We are so proud of our school and we
Yeah.
love it. And people call us a cult.
Well,
Rattler, because we go hard for our school. We love it. Even the good, bad, ugly. Yes, improve. We can improve on things, but the love in that family atmosphere, it
hmm,
remains to this day. You can see a Rattler and be like, hey, Rattler.
yeah.
And it's locked in. You locked
Yeah.
in.
That's true. That's true. Wow. I didn't know all that. That's cool. Tell it sounds like FAMU is the same as family to you because
Hmm.
the family connection is huge. Because 8 kids, and then all of their kids, probably not all, of course, but that's
My
a greater
cousins,
probability of more kids coming. That's
we
cool.
all went, graduated, and you're right. It's family, FAMUly. It
Yeah,
really
yeah,
is,
exactly. It's
and I just love it.
I know people want to say, first of all, and no shade to anybody, seriously. But I take with a grain of salt when people who did not attend HBCUs have certain viewpoints or just comments on HBCUs because the cultures are so different
Hmm.
that it's not really something that unless you go and experience it, maybe you spend a lot of time there. If you didn't go to a HBCU, but maybe, your best friend did, let's say. So you're always over there, something like that. It's a little different. But because I know people think that there are certain reasons why people will go to HBCU.
Hmm.
Well, both you and I just said it was because our family went. And as children, we were always there.
Hmm.
So then it was just like, oh, you're gonna go to college? Boom, boom, boom. Like it equals that way to him. But then when you hear people outwardly talk about HBCUs, you hear all this other stuff where it's like almost like it's for where black kids to go because maybe they can't make it at a
Hmm.
PWIC or XYZ. And I'm like, that ain't actually I don't even think the majority. And not only that, when you go to a HBCU, of course, everybody has different reasons, but a lot of what I heard from friends who were going to majority white schools, especially those first years, freshman year, sophomore year, to say they felt like just like a number in the crowd that is not even doing justice to the stories that I heard. So for
Hmm.
some kids, and people learn differently. So for some kids, it could just be as simple as they need to be somewhere with a smaller class size so that they could, get more attention or so that they could focus more, whatever the case is. But you always hear all this ugly stuff from the outside looking in. And that's even I think um recently there was something that came up about white people wanting to sue because
Yes.
HBCUs because they're not it's like we got white people at HBCUs, but you
Plenty
wouldn't know
of
that
white
because
people.
you don't be there. You just
Right.
assuming, it's like a whole DEI thing all over again. You assuming that it's by race only to get in, and that ain't true. It's white people there because they want to be there. And they to be there. So, to me, that's a safer white. Like,
Yeah,
I'll feel safer around you because
safe,
you feel
safer.
safe around Black people. And if you feel safe around Black people, that means, when people feel unsafe, that's when they start attacking you and doing all these crazy things. So it's like, no, it just seems like people say a lot of things, but it's always people that don't have the experience to even,
Mhm.
they just pulling stuff out of thin air.
Or the people who, especially when we were younger, like it's gotten better, but it's still that same sentiment. Oh, I can't be around all them Black people. I can't be around that. Or I went to an all Black high school. I wanted to have more diversity when I went to college. And just like you said, there were white people in our classes.
Right.
Also, they think that we partied all the time. Like we didn't go to class. We didn't have professors who really cared about us. We didn't learn. If anything,
Easy.
they were on
They were
our asses
harder.
even more.
Yeah.
Right?
Are you kidding me? Like, it was not a
What?
joke. That
All of my professors, even my white professors, was like, "Oh, absolutely not. You're not turning this in. What is
no,
this? I
it was
know it's
more
homecoming week, but
caring.
no. Hello? Yes.
Like, no,
Yes.
y'all describing, I ain't gonna name no names, but y'all describing one of them top 10 party schools, which was
That
Florida
part.
State one? Yes, it was. But again, not calling no names. It's like, how come we always get the brunt
We
of what the
always,
other schools are doing? That doesn't make any
all
sense.
the time, we always get it. And I hate it. It's like less than, or like we're just not learning. And every person I know who's gone to FAM or any other sharp as a tack, because we had to be. When I went
Yeah.
to Florida State for grad school, I felt more prepared and confident than most of my cohort members in my class, and
Yeah.
they just floated by,
Mm.
and like, oh y'all don't. This is how y'all do it over here. Huge classrooms, of course, and
Yes.
so you're just a number. But each and every professor I went to, because we had that close connection with our professors, we could touch them. We could
Mm-hmm.
actually communicate. They were surprised. They were like, I don't have many students that come and actually talk to me after class. I said, oh no, you're
Mm.
gonna know who I am. I need you to know who I am and the work, and I'm gonna ask you questions. This is what we're taught to do. We have to work twice as hard.
Did you have any struggle areas when you were there in school?
Um,
Did you fail any classes? I
no, ma'am.
failed. I failed a
No, ma'am.
class.
FM?
I sure did. I failed one class. I sure
Did you?
did.
Were you, because you was kicking it? You was out and about.
No, it wasn't necessarily that. It was because I was majoring in graphic design.
Yeah.
So all of our finals were not tests. They were
No.
projects. And so that meant that, and the project was not like a week long. It was like probably for the last half of the semester, for the last 6 weeks or whatever, you were working on this project. And so they held so much weight. And I had a professor who, he really was he wasn't a nice guy. Okay.
Hmm.
He was from this advertising agency in Chicago, so he thought he was big time because he had done
Oh.
work for McDonald's and all this other stuff. And so he had these really kind of strict and regimented views on things. And I was just like in my mediocre era. Like, I was like, I'm not spending all this time working on these projects for his classes. And so he failed me. But I also, at that point in time, clearly I wasn't the person that I am now. I didn't hardly even speak in those classes and stuff like that. So, like you just said, we can reach out and touch them. You're going to know me. I
Hmm.
wasn't that way at that point in my life. In particular, what I know now is for people that I picked up a certain energy
Oh,
from. I
absolutely.
just, I stayed in the back, you know. So he ended up failing me. So I went to go summer school because that was my major. That was one of the major classes.
Hmm.
And when we did the class that summer, it was no projects. It was all drawing and like literally charcoal and stuff. It was the same class, P.
Yeah.
And it went from Photoshop and all that kind of stuff to I'm gonna teach you how to draw the human body, and we're gonna do. And I got like 100, and he was like, I remember he said to me, "You all right? Like, why did you fail? Why did you fail that class? And then
Uh-huh.
you pull up here in the summer." But see, in the summer, it was a lot more lax. It was a lot less people. And again, everything, the stuff he taught was completely different. And it was my wheelhouse because I draw and paint and stuff. So it was easier. But I remember we didn't have many conversations, but I remember having at least one conversation where it's like his perception of me had changed, if
Mm.
that makes sense. And I don't even know that I couldn't figure out how I felt about that because I'm like, do you have to have a good perception of someone for them to get a good grade in your class? Like, do you have to know them well and talk or whatever?
Yeah.
Or but then also the stuff that was taught was a completely different like category and stuff than what he taught during the school year. So anyway, I was honestly just happy to be out that man way because everybody called him the asshole. Like he was on some other stuff. And I don't know what was going on in his career, but he came down to
Maybe.
the school like I'm the big shot around here. And it's like if you that big, why you ain't still running your, agency? But hey, none of my business. But yeah, I felt that class and there was another class. I don't know if I told you this. I lost my scholarship freshman year.
Really?
This is sounding like I was
I mean, listen.
sounded like I was like a wild child or something. And I was not.
No, I don't think. I'll say this about our school before you get into but any
Yeah,
school. When
yeah,
you're going off to college, it's that freedom, your independence is so much happening. Now, we had a good time. There was a party every single night, all
yeah,
the time. And it was up to you to decide if you got yourself together. I knew I could not fail and go back home to reading Christopher McCray's house.
yeah,
So there was no way. So I had to minimize my kick it time. But
yeah.
you were on the dance team and you were having a
Yeah.
good time, friend.
I was mahogany, mahogany.
Mahogany, mahogany.
Hey, mahogany, mahogany. Yes, but no, you're exactly right. That freshman year, it's like that is when you find out your limits and your boundaries and stuff without your parent being like, "Oh, hey, wake up at this time." It took
Mm-hmm.
me one class in one semester to learn. Okay, you're not finna sign up for no 7:30 classes no more.
No
Because you
more.
feel
No
like,
more.
oh, I can do that because I used to be up at school at 7:30 every single day. So you feel like it's the
Exactly.
same. I just left there. It is not the same because ain't
Nope.
nobody there waking you up, and then you got to go down the hall to take your shower, and then you walk in late, and then they're like, oh, you passed 10 minutes late? Okay, you actually weren't here today. What? Wait a minute. So it took me one class to have for that to happen. But what happened freshman year is towards the end of the year, I ran into a depressive episode, is what I noticed
Mm-hmm.
after the fact. And then come to find out, it happens to a lot of freshmen. And it's also why a lot of people who drop out are dropping out like their freshman year and stuff because that
Mm-hmm.
transition and those growing pains, it's a huge hurdle. And a lot of people don't make it through. But I didn't realize how normal that it was. And for a freshman or really for someone that age to be, you really get to see what you're made of. And
Yeah.
so I remember it was the last semester and I was in African American history and was a group project. I hate group projects.
Yeah.
I'm an empath. So that means some people ain't like, I'm not gonna be able to do it. And for some reason I was like the leader of the group, which I still don't understand. But it was like maybe 5 of us and one of the girls had a baby. And she wasn't a freshman. We were freshmen. So she may have been a sophomore. Like, I don't think she was too far removed from us. But I remember she was from Miami and she had a baby. And so everybody was chipping in and doing their part. And she wasn't doing her part.
Mm.
So I remember reaching out to her, like, what you need help with. Maybe I can assist you with doing your part. Because it's like, if you struggling and we all have to do this as a group, and maybe you don't have a babysitter today or whatever she was doing, I'm like, well,
How can we
I
help?
can come to you or whatever the case. And so we had good rapport on that front. All the other members of the group was cussing her, not to her
Oh,
face, but they was talking big shit. Nobody cared for her or what, and not knowing at that point, not knowing anyone yet who had had a child or anything and was around our age. I'm like, let's help. Like, no, the girl probably got stuff going on, so let's try to help. Well, no, I don't know what the girl really had going on, but the
yeah.
girl was on some BS, and she did never do any of her parts. She wasn't trying to meet up with us. We had a group meeting at the library. We ended up getting to fighting at the library,
Wait a minute
freshman
now.
year.
Oh,
That's the last time I've been in a fight.
Hey friends, we're just getting this podcast going and we're so thankful for your support. If you want to be updated whenever we drop a new episode or when we drop some of the special things we've got coming, head on over to everythinhaschangedpodcast.com and drop us your email so you can stay locked in. Cool? Cool.
oh my gosh.
Because I was trying to help this girl, P. I was trying to help this girl. So you know how they had those little individual rooms in the library? You had to like
Yeah.
sign out for like an hour. So we
Oh,
all met in there. Everybody had been talking shit. And then she come in there and I'm like, no, you guys, like she's, I'm trying to help her. Nobody else wanted to help her. And then she come in and she wasn't doing nothing. And she start, waving her hand and her finger and all this stuff. And I'm like, I'm the only one trying to help you. And now you coming at me like this. I'm the one who's trying to help you. And so then she stood up and started yelling and waving. So then what happened was I had been holding back. Like I was
what
really
had happened
trying.
was okay.
I was really trying. We ended up, it was like, it was like basketball wise when they got to fighting over the table. It
You
was
are
like
so
that because we was
funny.
on different sides of the table. And so I kind of like just jumped up because she was already standing up yelling. So then I was standing up yelling. I've been trying to help you. Like, and at this point now, well, then fuck you then. Like, I tried, like you in here talking all this. I literally was trying to help you. And I also knew I couldn't get lower than something on this group project because if
Yeah.
I did, that was it for my average. Because I couldn't get less than a B. I couldn't get a C on anything. So anyway, we got to fight in the library. We got kicked out the library. I
Okay.
can't believe you don't remember, but this was the end of the year.
No.
This was the end of freshman year. We got kicked out the library. The rest of it, we ended up having to do the part she supposed. She didn't come to class more after that. She was just gone. We did her part, turned it in. Still ended up getting a C out that class. So I lost my scholarship. Mommy had to appeal to the school for me to get my scholarship back, and I got it back.
Amen.
And then sophomore, for the rest of my college career, I was good. All my A's and B's. But that was my 1C.
No, I do not remember you fighting at the library, friend. I
Kicked us out the library.
I need a minute.
I'm
What?
sorry.
Girl,
And
what?
and my group mates, it surprised them too because I was always on her side. But it was like she came in talking big shit about how she wasn't doing X, Y, Z. And I'm like, this whole time I've been trying to help. And it pissed me off so bad because I was trying to be nice and helpful to the girl. And I was overextending when everybody else wasn't. Look, clearly they was clear on, no, she just probably like a scammer or whatever. But I wasn't clear, okay?
Oh,
So
gosh.
it just kind of, I had to let some steam out. But
Well,
it worked out.
if you remember, like that freshman orientation week, we were in the auditorium and somebody says, look to your left and look to your
Yes.
right.
Yes.
Most of your people in this room aren't going to be with you by the time you cross the stage.
Yes.
But also look to your left and right. These are CEOs, nurses, doctors. So they gave that speech. And again, I knew I could not go back home because I was kicked out of school. There was just fear. Maybe that's what the fear of disappointing my family, because again, we have this rich history of rattlers and finishing school. And that was like my grandmother's, she just wanted her grandbabies to finish school. and get
Yes.
secondary degrees.
Yeah.
And so that's what helped me like really try to stay focused. That we had a good time. But like you said, there were times
Yeah.
when you're like, P, you're not going out tonight. You're like, why aren't you going out tonight, P? I say, let me.
Yeah, you was always in the room studying. You and
Because I was
your
like,
group.
it's freshman year now. I cannot go home because statistically, freshman year is that hardest year where people usually fall off. You might see people in the fall and you come back in the spring. Oh, what happened to they didn't come back. So that was my main thing. And then like you were about to say, I was planning to pledge the following year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't remember much about you sitting and like studying at the desk or like your math book. I remember you and a few girls, the same little group. Every time I walked in the door, y'all were seated on your bed with doing whatever, and I'm trying to, don't mind me. I'm
I
just
was like, that's just my
my
roommate,
clothes.
guys. Yep, she's
My
going out.
clothes.
She won't be here
Don't
long.
worry about me. I didn't hear anything. I got it. Yes.
Yes.
That's what I remember.
Because Outline got picked up my sophomore year in the fall. So yeah, my freshman year, full year, I was in SGA and got involved with Habitat and so I was on a path that I knew I needed to stay on. But that being said, my senior year, when they talk about senior-itis, especially the spring leading up, first of all, I couldn't believe that time went by so fast. I was like, we were just freshmen. What do you mean I'm graduating? I remember I went in to see my academic advisor and she's like, okay, well, in May, you're going to be graduating. I was like, what? Like leaving to go to the real world? How do we? She's like, yeah, based on your schedule, you're looking at how do we get here so fast? But I went out every single night.
What?
I went out every single night. Maybe Monday and Tuesdays were the 2 days that I really focused on my schoolwork, got that together. But when Wednesday, the moon, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, if it was a Kappa, what was it? The Kappa,
Kappa Luau?
Not the Kappa Luau, but they would do something on Sundays. Oh, what is it called? It's probably not called that now. It'll come to me. But every day, Shaun. So I made up for freshman year. By the time freshman year, pledged, had to get myself together, get acclimated. But by then, yeah, I was out. I had a good time.
Man, good times.
Good time in FAM. Oh my God, such a good time. I was driving up for the Atlanta Classic.
Yes.
I mean, y'all, there's a place. What was the place that we would go to?
For the club?
The restaurant that had the crash and burn.
Copeland.
The big party was at Copeland's.
Yeah, they did Copeland few years in a row.
And everybody would get these big fishbowl size of alcohol. And the drink was called a crash and burn.
I got that picture of you. I still got that picture of you sipping on that.
It was probably
drink.
We oh my God, we just.
And when you think about it, that restaurant was not even situated well to have a party. It was all booths. There was no floor. So like you had to stand in the booth to see people across the way.
It was the best party though. It was the best party though. There, and what was the other big club in Atlanta before it closed down? Vision, but no. Why am I going blank on everything right now? There was the big place. Campground. No.
Compound. The compound. Yeah, because it had like 3 different buildings. Yeah, outside. Yeah. It's coming back to you now.
ATL Classic
Yeah.
Compound. Girl. Man.
Man, them
But that
college parties be the best part. But they
the
weren't even necessarily
best.
college parties, but it's parties associated with events, basically,
Yes. But
where
it was big
everybody's in
parties.
town. And so it's like you get to host your friends that you met in a different city in your hometown.
Yes. Yes.
Ooh,
And the
good
good
time.
times would take over and we would be doing our FAMU chat.
Yeah.
It just our chance. And what brought me joy too was sharing my experiences with mom. Even
Oh,
frustrations and just like,
yeah.
"Mom, I'm not doing too well in this class. Okay, well, this is what I did when I was struggling and walking across the quad, just reliving it for her. She's like, we would be at the
Mhm.
grand ballroom. And back in the day, the big acts, because they couldn't book big places, they would come to the schools. So she saw Earth, Wind, and Fire
In the
and
grand
in,
ballroom?
in the grand ballroom and in Lee Hall.
Wow. What?
The Temptations,
The
they
Temptations?
all they all would come to campus. They would go to
Oh my
black
God.
colleges and perform all the time. And just listening to her stories and being able to understand them and it just brought us closer. And I remember freshman year, I was walking across the quad by the library and Southern Hospitality. If you see an adult or a professor, you speak, you make hello. I didn't know who it was, but hi, how you doing? We make eye contact. We kept moving. She turned around and stopped me. She said, "Excuse me, what's your name?" I say, "Phyllis McCray." She says, "Is your mother Rita McCray or Rita Dean?" I said, "Yes, ma'am." And she's like, "Oh my God, you always strutting across this campus looking like her." I had to stop. How is she doing? And in that moment, I called her. She was at work. And I said, "Mom, I met one of your former classmates here." And I put them on the phone. Dr. O. I don't know if you remember Dr. O.
Mm-mm.
Girl, they would chit chat. I was like, I got to go to class.
Get off my phone, lady. Thank
Like,
you.
but she said, "I saw this girl and I thought it was you walking across this campus back in the day like we used to do."
Oh,
And that
wow.
made me feel, I was like, she said, "You look just like her." But they chatted, they cackled on that phone. And again, back then, our phones, minutes. It was during the
Yes.
day. So
Yes.
not only did I have to go to class, I was walking
Before
to
9
class,
o'clock.
but y'all on my minutes. I only called my mom in the daytime
Mm-mm.
if it was an emergency.
Yeah.
Hey, wrap this up, ladies. Exchange phone numbers.
Yeah,
I said,
please.
I gotta go to class, Dr. O. She said, "Okay, girl, Rita, girl, we gonna chit chat." And from then on, she said, "You come see me. You know where my office is, and you come see me, and if you need anything from there." And those moments, I just cherish them so much.
And imagine if she hadn't
So
said
much.
anything and just let you keep walking by. But then imagine how much like your mama you have to look like.
That part.
Because
That
she was
part.
probably 20 years removed from when
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
wild.
That's what she said. She said,
Oh,
"You are the splitting image of your mother."
oh my goodness.
Crazy times. But
Now I
she
try to
told
picture
me,
you strutting.
just walking across campus to class. We had to look good now. I don't understand. Now, that's not what happened at FAM. This new class, we didn't go to school in pajamas and stuff.
Yeah, that wasn't that was across the tracks type of
We was
activity.
dressed up. There was some girls wearing heels to
Yeah.
class. Like
Yeah, there
there was
was.
no slippers and slide. Like we dressed to go to class.
And like when we wore cause I think on Fridays or certain days we had to wear our mahogany stuff. We had to look a certain way to wear
Mhm.
our shirts and paraphernalia and stuff. We were not
Yes.
allowed. Do you remember freshman year them making us go to Lee Hall to watch Chocolate City? Do you
Be-
recall that?
because
Because of Will Packer
he
and
came and showed it. Yes.
but they were saying it happens every year. They make the freshmen go see it. And I was
Really?
like, yeah. Because I don't even remember him being there when when I saw it freshman year. And so now he could have been there, I don't know. But it's interesting because he lives in Atlanta now.
Mm-hmm.
And so they had Will Packer, y'all, if for anyone doesn't know, is the big, Hollywood producer. He produced a lot of Kevin Hart movies, all the, Think Like a Man and Ride Along and Girls Trip and all those things. And he went to FAM, and he and his partner at the time, Will Hardy, Rob Packer, Will Hardy, like one was a producer, one was a director, and they did everything together. They, I guess, met at FAM, but they shot Chocolate City on FAMU campus. That was their first movie, so they would make freshmen go to Lee Hall to watch Chocolate City, and that was when I learned about them and then I followed their careers ever since. And Rainforest Films, they split up. Rob Hardy now directs a lot of TV, but they're both still very active, working on really high profile shows and movies. And that was, I think, my first thought about it. It wasn't just communication. It was like, oh, it's a movie. Some filmmakers went here and they shot this. They shot it down at the foot.
Yep.
And Pattyfoot. And so you watching that movie like, they is really in the hallway at Pattyfoot.
They are here.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And of course, now there were students when they shot it. So that's what it looks like. It does not, I'm not saying it looks bad. But it was their very first movie.
A student film.
They weren't even 20. It was a student film. And they were probably like 20, 21 when they shot it with their roommates and kids on campus. And that was cool. But I wonder if they still do that, if they still make freshmen watch that movie. Because had they not done that, I don't think I would have known about them or who they were. Probably until way years later.
They might not show it, but now that whole amphitheater is dedicated to him.
Oh, yes, I did see that.
Yeah.
I did see that. And I like that he comes down every homecoming and he'll bring his superstar friends.
Whatever movie he's promoting, he's brought them to campus. So we had to watch Chocolate City, but he's bringing so much more now. So I give him all the props, that whole amphitheater. I actually am, my niece is going on a tour, a campus tour, sometime in March, and I told them I'm gonna drive up because I need a new tour of FAM.
Yeah, you should.
I don't know the school.
Yeah,
I haven't seen the amphitheater before. They tore down our dorms. They tore down Pattyfoot. I've never seen the new towers or the new dorms that they have. So I was like, I'm gonna be walking in the tour just like you, looking like, what is this?
None of it
what
either.
Is this?
Man, I don't know if I could take it. I am my nostalgia, my memories of that time in my life. Oh my God, just the best time.
The best.
By the time we left there, it was like you would learn so much about yourself and what you like, what you don't like, people you vibe with, people you never would have even thought you would know. You leaving school and these are like your friends, people you would never come into contact with. Yeah. I just love that. I wish there was a time in your life as a full-fledged adult, like 40s and up, that was just as similar as college. Like, why we don't get to have that experience again? And I'm not saying not the quote-unquote college experience, but a 4-year time in your life where it just seems like when I think back on that time, I'm like, that'll never happen again. That'll never happen again. And then, of course, I'm thinking back to because me once. So I don't know who it was, but at some point in the end of freshman year, I found out that folks was living off campus and using their scholarship money to live off campus. So I done wrote me up a plan to mommy talking about, hey, I get X amount of dollars. This is how much the apartments cost. I had to have a whole, we had to put together a whole plan about, hey, let me live off campus, okay? Because you ain't got to pay for it because I got this scholarship money, right?
Right.
And And I'm like, because when you add up the meal plan and you add up this and that, it was almost cheaper to live off campus. And then after freshman year, you can have your car. So for the rest of the 3 years, I was in apartments off my scholarship money. Mommy ain't even have to pay. So we used to have them house parties. We had
Wait,
the house parties.
did
Oh
you go
my
to
goodness.
college club like everybody else?
No, we stayed
Okay.
at what's West Start Street? What's the one that was on West Start? The big one. I just know it was
Oh,
on West Start. I can't remember the name of it right now, but it was huge.
it
That's where
was.
we were
Everybody stayed there too.
for 2 years, and then we went to the exchange up
Yes.
Monroe. Girl.
There were a lot of parties there too.
And we always had friends. Like, I remember my roommate was dating a guy. I don't know if he was the bartender or if he worked at the club, but at the end of the night, he could take all the bottles that were open but weren't
Yeah.
empty. So when
Oh
we
my
had found a
gosh.
DJ that was a friend, we had all the bottles from the club. So and then after you drink, you used to save the bottles. So all the bottles was up
Oh
on
my
top of the
God.
the
Yes.
pants on the cat.
Oh,
And I remember my older cousin came to visit. He said, "I guess y'all been partying, huh?" I'm like, "Hey, I
yeah.
didn't drink all that. What happens is we host get together and we host house parties. Okay, we didn't just sit down and drink this on a Saturday night. But every
Oh
time we
God.
held a house party, the police got called. There was always a fight, and we was always in an apartment with a balcony, so people would always end up jumping off the balcony, either because of a fight or because they were trying to flee from the police.
But they knew it was a college town. And with College Club, that was down the street from campus. There were
Right.
times that people would throw parties. The cops would cut people off from coming into the neighborhood. You'd have to show, like, sir, no, I know it's a party here, but I live there. So I
Right.
need to go in
Me.
to, I know y'all trying to kick people out. This is where I stay. That's my apartment right there.
Right.
I want to go home. But it was a college town. So they knew. They
Man,
knew
good times,
all
man.
over the city. With Florida State kids. Now,
Yep.
the stuff that they would do, what's crazy is our parties would be in the news and the things that we did. Mind you, what they had
They-
$25 25-cent beers on that Tennessee Street, the bar crawl.
Yes. What's the name
They,
of that?
they would be
What's the name of
passed
that?
out in the street.
But why would they be passed out on the street? Because the 25-cent
Drunk.
beers or the happy hours that was like all you can drink.
Bullwinkles.
Get Bullwinkles, that's the one. And
Bullwinkles.
I didn't learn
Yes.
about Bullwinkles till towards the end of. I was like, how am I just not finding about? Like they really pouring heavy up in here, and it's all you can drink. And
Heavy.
then there was a new place that opened on it had to be on Monroe. It was like in a public shopping center, and they used to have happy hour on Fridays.
Club D. We were the Delta, so that's where most of our parties were thrown.
Yes,
So that's
that
what I
was
mean. When I say we was
yes.
out, I was out. All the Greeks had parties
Their
at Club.
happy hours was crazy. I remember my friends came down when I took them in there because of Atlanta. You know how everything costs and everything.
Yes.
We paid them $10. We can drink anything we want till 2 a.m. And they was like, "Oh my God!" And we was just going there before the concert, before the homecoming
my
concert.
God.
It was crazy.
Oh my God.
We
The
had
good
such
times.
good times.
And wait, you said you moved off campus. When we did move off
Yeah.
campus, my rent, that included rent, cable, internet, water,
Trash.
$550.
Exactly. I was about to say I think I started off at 400. 5 tops.
500. So when I would get
But
my
it was
net
per
check,
person. So now
Right.
it makes sense because if it's like 4 of y'all in there,
sure, you're in your townhome. I would get my net check, and your mama would
Yep.
say, "Now go up to that place, and you pay for the year,
yeah, exactly,
and whatever you have left, that's what you have." And yes, ma'am, I'll go ahead and do that.
exactly.
$550, Shaun. Internet.
They would make us. They would allow us to pay for the semester. So I would go in there and write like 3-4 month check.
Yeah.
I would feel like I thought I was an adult, honey. And I thought I
Girl,
was rich too. I thought I was, never mind, I was going to say somebody who we don't
we
glorify
thought
no more.
we thought
I
we was rich.
yeah, I thought I was rich. And I'm going in there.
We had a
It's
couple of
scholarship money.
$100.
I'm up here. Let me write you this big ass
This
amount
check.
on my Pooh Bear check. Okay?
Hmm.
Because I
So
had
I
Winnie
can
the Pooh
for
check.
my rent.
Like, let me like I
And
don't
look
work somewhere for this money.
how spoiled we were being in a college town. When I did leave, I went to Dallas to work for Tom Joyner's company. And
Oh, I forgot.
yeah, Reach
Yeah.
Media. And it started as an externship, but then so they had housing for me. But then when they were like officially going to bring me over, they were like, okay, you need to start looking for an apartment, essentially. And I'm riding around Dallas and checking out these apartments. And my dumb ass is like, so does my internet
So
and the cable and the trash, all this is included in this $15,000 a month? Each person would look at me like, what?
what's wrong with
No,
you?
that's just rent. Like, you still have to get your own cable. You have to get your own track. Like, and I was like, oh, I'm not gonna stay here. I'm gonna go to the next one because they tripping. It must be another one that has everything. Girl, we were just so dumb. Like, we were a college town. And I finally told one of them at a leasing's office, I was like, look, I just graduated. I came from Tallahassee, Florida, college town. They were like, oh, okay, let me break this down for you. You're not in a college town now. This is the real world. So this is the base rent, and you have to pay for everything else. So that $550 or $575 for everything, just blow that out the water. Just
I
forget about
wonder
it.
though if they ever caught on, because I know maybe no, by the time we graduated and I went back home to Atlanta, they did start having college communities specifically around those specific campuses. So like
Yeah.
how we have Spelman and Clark and all that. So they started building those kind of communities so that the kids could do that. But they were not there when I left. When I came
No.
back, you started seeing sprinklings of them. So even though we're not a college town, but in that specific area where they had 3 or 4 colleges combined, but I think about it, it's probably not many places that have that many colleges centered in one
It's a
area.
thing now, though. It's a
Okay.
thing where every university, especially like a UCF here in Orlando, around the campus, they have apartments that are specifically collegiate ready. Now, it's not 550 because clearly that was several years ago. But
Several. Okay. 20. More like.
oh my God. But they do have it now. Girl, oh, you just took me back. I am thinking about so many things. And I'm trying to think of this professor I had before we close out. My senior year, I thought I had it together. And this specific, I had to do one more class. This particular professor, he would only teach in the fall. So I was like, boom, I'm not going to do it in the fall. And he was known for failing people, known for failing seniors. He didn't care.
Oh, man.
Professor Bailey. So I'm thinking I'm outsmarting everything. I'm like, oh, he only teaches in the fall. I'm going to take the class in the spring. So I'm going to have the other professor. Boop, 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 boop. Walk into class in the spring. Here he comes. And I'm like, wait.
He said, plot
Guys,
twist.
I thought he only teaches this class in the fall. What happened? He said, oh, he was on sabbatical in the fall for his book. So now he's here. He walked in and said, hello. How many of y'all are seniors in here? Raising our hand. Y'all got to graduate. I will fail you if you don't do what you're supposed to do. If you don't do the work. He said that the first, like a minute into the class. And we were like, oh my God. Oh my God. But he was like, I want you to think critically. That is what I ask of you. I want you to think. He always think critically. Do your work, think critically, and do it well, and you'll be okay. But if not, I will fail you.
What kind of class was it?
It was critical thinking.
Oh,
critical thinking.
okay.
Yeah, in journalism. But
Yeah.
Dr. Philip Bailey, I want to say it was Dr. Bailey. He had his beard, and when you went to his office hours, he would be listening to Rick James.
Okay. Oh,
I
he wasn't
loved
too
it.
bad then if he was into
No,
Rick
no.
James.
No. It was more, and once you got to know him, I think the lore of him, people were fearful if you didn't do what you was gonna do. Yes, he would fail you. But if you took the time to do your work and do it well, go to his office hours if you're having issues, like he was cool. Rick James, cool. He became one of my favorite professors because I was like, yo, everybody was scared of you, sir. I thought I avoided you. But I didn't know you were on sabbatical in the fall, and here
God
you
said you
are.
needed him.
I needed
God said
him.
you needed him. That does remind me though. I had one lady who was because originally I was minoring in English, and then I moved over to the magazine design because I had more classes that I could, double up on. But originally I was minoring in English, and then I ended up moving over to magazine design. But when I was minoring in English, now again, I've been a writer my whole life. I was always writing. It was not a big thing to me. But in order to minor in English, you had to take a class on etymology, which is the study of where words come from. So it's not
Wow.
necessarily like Latin, but it's like, okay, this word is from Latin origins, or this word is from Gaelic origins, or whatever. And so I walk in the classroom. I'm the only sophomore. When she's doing her introduction and stuff on the first day of class, she singles me out. And she said, okay, well, you all are going to need to help Miss Head because she's an artist student. So, this is not going to be really her thing and XYZ. And again, I'm not even talkative at that
Yeah.
point. So I was so hurt and frail and sensitive about it. And I was the only sophomore. Everybody was upperclassmen.
Yeah.
Last day of class, I had the highest grade in the class. It was a 99. And she said, I just want to apologize to you in front of everyone for the statements that I made at the beginning. Because, and I was like, cool, I accept, you know what I'm saying? Because I was out working them people in that class. But that's the kind of stuff that came naturally to me, but you wouldn't know that. But if you're judging me based off of, okay, I'm the only sophomore, or based off of what you see, or based off of you think I'm an artist versus XYZ, then you have these preconceived notions, which we know happens. But then she stood up in front of the class and told everybody they're going to have to help me. People was having to come to me for help.
Look at that. Let's speak of her for acknowledging her mistake, and hopefully she didn't make that mistake continuing on.
Like, I don't remember her name. She was like an older lady, but yeah, you learn a lot in school. You learn a lot in the HBCU, and you get these really singular character type of teachers, like really unique people that clearly you need to have at certain phases in your life. You know what I mean?
It was a wonderful time. You learn about the school, our history, and outside of school, just knowing how to move on. They prepared us for the next step, the next level. And I often wonder how many people really know their college alma mater like we do. Like, I think every Rattler knows College of Love and Charity.
Maybe not after 20 years, but I will say that I don't even know, like, do the other schools have them? It seems
they have
like
them?
That, I don't know if it's a Black thing or if I'm sure it's not, but I think there are some things that our culture takes more seriously than others, and vice versa. You know?
Sure.
Vice versa. So
that's a question I'm gonna ask some of my other friends if they know their college alma mater. Oh, the good times. McGuinn 202.
202. Yeah.
Man, we love it. Tell us your stories, fellow Rattlers who are listening. Let us know what you're thinking, some of your favorite memories. Talk to us. Tell us about it.
Or other HBCU.
HBCUs.
You know what I mean? Everybody makes mistakes. It's fine. We will not hold it against you.
No judgment.
No judgment. We listen and we don't
judge. There we go.
But, you got some HBCU stories you want to share. We love to hear those too.
Love to hear it. As usual, you can reach me at Better3701 on Instagram.
And I am at Hey Shaun the Head on Instagram. You can also reach the podcast at the Everything Has Changed podcast on Instagram.
Thank you. Y'all take care now.
Bye.
Want to stay locked in with us so you never miss an episode? Visit everythinghaschangedpodcast.com and join our email list. That way you'll be the first to know about new episodes and all the fun stuff we have coming your way. Meet us over there.